It is Sunday, September 15th, 2019, and this is the Pro and the Con Show with your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show, one of hundreds of shows that I'm doing all the way through November of 2020. Dedicated, I promised, I swore to myself I would do this show, trying to encourage people to be better citizens. And the name of the show, I call it Patriots. And so better citizens, better patriots for this nation. And so there's two sides of this to this show. One is talk about the NFL and the New England Patriots for a few minutes, and then talk about us, you and I, the citizens, the patriots of this nation. So first, let's talk about football. So, wow. So I'd been following, so I grew up in Illinois, and I grew up watching Walter Payton run the football with the Chicago Bears. And I ended up being a lifelong Chicago Bear fan, I still am, because of Mr. Payton. He was called Sweetness. As far as I can tell, anyone that I've ever seen any story about him, he's been nothing but a stellar example of what a good human is and can be. Unfortunately, he died at an unfortunately young age, and that's a shame. But anyway, so the Chicago Bears, it's normally my team, and still is. I still cheer for them. I still hope that they do well. But over the last 20 years, those New England Patriots have established kind of this consistency in a league, in a sports league that has rules in it that intentionally try to drive people away from being consistently good. It's all about, trying to ensure that after 5 years of being on top of the pile, if you will, the Dallas Cowboys can't continue that way, and so some other team or other teams. And teams like Cleveland or Detroit or whatever are supposed to, because of the draft picks and the way all this works, it's supposed to cause a constant churn, which would prevent a team from establishing a level of excellence that would continue for many years in a row. And in fact, amazingly, the Patriots are up to like year 20 now. And so I've been following them here more and more lately, just because I admire people and organizations that figure out a way to be excellent year after year after year. In the case of the Patriots, they are excellent because they end up adapting all the time and changing all the time. And so I was watching, they won the Super Bowl last year, and the defense, pretty much won the Super Bowl for them. It was a very low-scoring game, and a lot of people complained about that, but the reality is that, again, they found a way to win. And now they went into the off-season, and as it happens always with them, their head coach / general manager says, well, some of these players that fantastic contributors to the team, fantastic people, we love them, but they're going to now want a huge contract, and so we're going to try to figure out a way to replace them. And so they let go every year in the offseason. The Patriots let go, some number, a handful of some of their best players from the year before. And there's always a lot of discussion about how they're going to replace them and if they were going to replace them. And they are, how successful they are in replacing them varies. And that, is basically depending on, for the Patriots, whether they win the Super Bowl the following year or, make the playoffs but don't make the Super Bowl or whatever. But they're always doing pretty well. The other part of it is, unfortunately, for Dolphins fans and Jets fans and, who's the other... it'll come to me. But unfortunately, Dolphins, Jets. I hate that when that happened. But anyway, the other three teams in their division they've been not managed very well, and so they've been pretty easy to beat. So, you know, uh, the Patriots have kind of a leg up because, 5 or 6 wins kind of are fairly easy for them because the competition in their division is not that strong. But even so, they end up competing against these other teams, and even the teams within their division. Oh, Buffalo's the other one. Even the teams within their division, they can be pretty good, and still it's really hard to beat, even an average or below average NFL team on any given Sunday, because it's really hard to do that. Winning really is hard in the NFL. Anyway, so I'm watching in the preseason, and they are, and this is one of the, they found all these unsigned free agents and stuff. They found a few of them last year, and some of those guys end up showing up in the Super Bowl. And it seems like they always find one or two of these guys. Well, they've gotten here the last year or two. They've found a bunch of them, and in particular, they've been loading up with some really talented people at wide receiver and at cornerback. Which are, in a pass-happy NFL, these are the two areas that, if you have strength, you go a long way. And wow, and the way that they found these people, and they plugged them into their team, and coached them up and stuff like that. And and I'm sitting there looking at this and thinking, well, on paper, because there are a bunch of new pieces, right, to this team. So on paper, if they can get to a place where they practice together and have some experience together, probably by the 3rd or 4th or 5th week of the season, oh my God, they're going to be great. But until then, which often happens with the Patriots, the first, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, it's, because they're again trying to put all these pieces together. And sometimes they have some weaknesses. They have to figure out how to change the game plans to kind of cover up the weaknesses that they have or whatever. And so I said to myself, if they manage to get by the Steelers the first week, and then the Dolphins, which it's going to Miami is always a difficult thing for them, for whatever reason. And like I say, Miami of late has not been the greatest team, but when they play in Miami, they've given the Patriots fits. And I think coming into this Sunday, the Patriots had lost 5 of the last 6 games in Miami for whatever reason. So if they could somehow squeak by, I was thinking if they could squeak by those first couple of games, then that gives them, there's another 2 or 3 games where they're playing teams that probably aren't all that good. And then, here we go. If they can make it to 4-0 or 5-0, watch out, because the talent, oh my God, they have so much talent at quarterback. They have so much talent at wide receiver. They have so much talent at linebacker. They have, strong safeties. They have, a really good, solid offensive line, really good, solid defensive line. Wow. I mean, looking at least on paper, the most talented team by far in the 20 years. So this is a team that's been to 9 Super Bowls and won 6 of them. And now with the most talent that they've had in that period. Watch out. Well, so then what happened? Well, last Sunday, they played the Steelers, and they made the Steelers look terrible. And they won 33-3. Wow. And they really made the Steelers look terrible. And then this past Sunday, or today, play in Miami, and they won 43-0. And, the Miami team did not look very good and stuff like that. But a big part of that goes to these Patriots. They are talented. And so I was thinking, even before the season started, that they could go undefeated. And now that they have gotten as far into the season as they have, and they're not even I mean, there's still a lot of improvement that they can make, but they're already killing teams in the NFL. And admittedly, the Dolphins again aren't one of the better teams. They're probably one of the weakest teams. But if you dominate a team on their home field, regardless how weak they are, that's something. And it's only week 2. So undefeated season for those Patriots. I see it coming all the way through the Super Bowl this time, because no weakness as far as I can tell. So unless they have because they have so much depth, unless they have a huge amount of injuries over the course of the year, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. So I don't know if you heard it here first, but that's my prediction. So Sunday, September 15th, you heard it here. Whether or not you heard it here first, I don't know. Now, Patriots, us, the citizens, okay? I do this show, the pro and con, because I want all of us, and you want all of us should want each other to at least be willing to listen to opposing views, and certainly to ferret out the facts, the who, the what, the where, and the when, and, get those facts. That's what you should be focused on. What are the facts? And the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against, because all of these things, regardless of the issue, whether it's racism or taxes or government spending or abortion or gun regulation or whatever, all of these things, there's always pro and con, good and bad, for and against, and you need to acknowledge that those things exist. And what we need to do as good patriots is force the issue. We need to be demanding that our representatives basically start from the beginning on an issue. So let's declare, okay, this is September, so we could declare October Gun Safety Month. And then we have a series of open forums where we get experts with all the opposing views, and they give detailed reports on why they think this or why they think that. And we, okay, here's the details, here's what they're saying, here's some conflicting information. Let's try to get that conflict resolved. Okay, here it is. And now here's some summaries. And now, so that's where it is. That's the truth, the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against. And now the next step is, okay, now what about this don't we like? Well, we don't like that, people are shooting up schools, and we don't like that maybe the suicide rate is so high using guns and that kind of stuff. So what do we do about these things? So here's the list of things we don't like. And now, and maybe, okay, a list of things that we like. So then you say, okay, what are some ideas for addressing the things that we don't like and making sure that the things we like stay there, right? So you start listing those, and then you start talking about the trade-offs between doing those different actions, and you can sometimes combine aspects of, some proposals to make it even better. And then ultimately, here we all start together, right? We're all on the same page. That's the point. You start out, okay, there's different views, different things that people think, so let's get it all out on the table. Spend the time on a national level, in public forums. Here it is. And now, that's the truth, the pro and the con, the good and bad, for and against. Now, what do we do? What do we like? What don't we like about the truth? And then here's what we could do, proposals, and then based on those proposals, what would make sense? What would we do next? Okay. And those final things, we decide, okay, so after this, 1 or 2 week effort in October, based on all of the input and the variations in the potential outcomes, we now are proposing this be our strategy. Here's the strategy. Here's what we want to do, and to fulfill that strategy, we need, to change certain laws that are pre-existing and add certain laws that don't exist. And then we will form the framework that will support the strategy. And then we try that. And maybe we say, okay, every 3 years, we're going to revisit gun safety and see what's working and what isn't, and reevaluate the pro and the con, the good and the bad, and the for and against. And you just incrementally make things better. But the main reason why we argue so much is not that that we have huge differences in opinion, because we have huge differences in what we think is true. Do you follow that? We have huge arguments and opinions about what should be done because we have huge differences in what we think is true. And the truth is the truth, the pro and the con, the good and the bad, and the for and against. So we get all that, we get on the same page where we all have the same truth. And then once you have the same truth, it's relatively easy to be on the same page as far as what should be done, plus minus. Okay? And that is how to be a great patriot, and that is how to win, not on the football field, but in our daily lives, and make things better for ourselves and our future generations. So, for the Pro and Con Show, this is Michael James Ott, and until the next show, bye for now.